All right, we're back, and we got a full deck on the State of the SEL live show. Snipes, Big Wade, and Jobro, who I'm just realizing I flipped the names. Oh, it's always something on my shows, so I'll fix that once I start asking some questions. But I've brought these big brains of the SEL on to talk about their season so far, what they think about the formats, playoffs, just about everything I could ask them in like the 20-minute time frame that I've got to ask them questions. So, welcome guys. We're going to be talking about the formats, the new and improved SEL format for the spring semester first. But before we talk about that, I'm gonna start with you, Wade. How you feeling today? How's your Monday been so far?
Going good. Hanging in there. Spring break ended last week, so right back into the swing of things. It's going good.
Love to hear it. Joe, you guys are on spring break this week, right?
Yeah, we just started, so I got back home Saturday night after the basketball game, losing to Kentucky, but it wasn't very fun.
Hey, I feel that. I got to watch Kentucky beat Auburn when I was in Lexington for BBB, so that one hurt right there. But Snipes, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've been on spring break for just under 3 months now since I graduated, so it's been great actually. You guys should try it.
Just graduate and you'll be on spring break permanently. I feel that. But thanks for joining the show, guys. So now we're gonna get into the meat of things. Snipes, your new format I've loved so far from a content perspective. The group stages being randomized, then feeding into a tiered last chance qualifier, plus the Elite 8 groups, and playoffs staying the same, but I still love the double elim format. I want you to talk real quick about your thought process going into the format revamp and how you've thought it's panned out so far.
Yeah, I mean, you were there for the first iterations of ideas I proposed, which sucked, but the theme of them all were centered around the same ideas, which we talked about recently, but we want every single game that you play to matter, and we don't want boring stretches of the seasons for teams, and then we want to keep things fresh for teams at every level. We want their experiences to be unique, the sort of routes they can take to playoffs and everything to be unique. So part of the experience thing is randomized groups. Who knows who you're going to play, like if you're going to be in a good group, strong group. You get to watch the show. There gets to be anticipation every season instead of just being predetermined into a group where, yeah, we're probably going to be the 5 seed. And then to make every game matter, we said, all right, well, let's tier the LCQ. So all of a sudden, those mid-table teams that, hey, we're not Champ 2s, so we won't lose the group, but we're not SSL, so we're not going to win the group, so do our games even matter? Well, now they do, because you have a lot more to play for with how you're going to get seeded into the LCQ, and then the 1 seeds and 2 seeds don't just qual for playoffs and sit on the bench for 4 weeks. They get something to do, they get to look at the other top teams, they get to thoroughly play them, and then they get to have a little bit more vested into watching the rest of the league because they end up picking from those teams. So everybody gets to stay a little bit more involved every week.
And so I think the biggest, of the top seeds, I think the biggest team that got impacted by that format change is UTK with that Game 5 loss to UNC that stuck you guys as the 2 seed out of groups. And you were you weren't in group of death. Never mind, that was King. We'll talk about the group of death in a second. But Joe, how did that impact you guys? Like, you kind of dominated your Elite 8 group. So how have you felt about the format so far?
I mean, I honestly thought the format was fun. Like, it was different, and playing like a wide variety of teams because our group was very top heavy. It was still a lot of fun regardless. And obviously, the top heavy thing didn't help at the end when we had our Game 4 incident and didn't end up winning all of our matches. But it was still fun, and even though we weren't the team that ended up in that top group, I mean, you saw what we did to the lower teams, the 2nd seed, so I think it was pretty obvious that we should have been the team there. But it is what it is. I mean, it's part of the format, and I mean, it's kind of also beneficial because now they don't get to play us before playoffs. So there's a good thing and a bad thing that comes out of it, I guess.
Okay, and Wade, you were at the top side of your group of death, beating Kentucky in the last round of the season. Even though you got swept by Auburn, whatever. Well, I'll end the discourse on that. But
Easy.
but how have you enjoyed the format so far, from the group of death that you guys were playing in now to playing in the Elite Eight group?
I think the format was great. I mean, just like Snipe said, it was entertaining the entire way through. All the matches mattered, and it came down to the last week in pretty much every group. And I mean, you can't ask for anything more. The loss to Auburn early in the season, 100% fluke. Like, not even close, not even anything else, but a fluke. It happens. It's all right. We're good. But yeah, the format's been really good. I've enjoyed it.
Now, real quick to end the format discussion, and go back to you, Jobro, real quick. You have any idea who you're gonna draft yet? Are you cooking up anything out of the two teams that made it to the top side of the LCQ? Have you given any thought to who you might take?
I mean, I'm gonna watch the Arkansas-Alabama game tonight. So if Georgia ends up losing to Garnet, I've heard Garnet's annoying, and I really don't like playing annoying teams, so I probably won't pick them. But if Georgia does win, we'll probably pick them because we're familiar with them, and who knows who they're playing with. They might be playing with 4 players from their C team, because that seems to happen pretty often.
Yikes.
So I mean, but if Georgia looks really, really good and Arkansas doesn't look good tonight, then we might just end up picking them. But we haven't decided yet, and we haven't really talked too much about it.
How about you, Wade? You guys give it any thought to who you might take out of the bottom side of the LCQ, even though no one's qualified yet, but you might have a rough idea of who it might be?
I mean, I'm really liking the UNCC matchup. I think we match up really well with them. I'm also liking Florida. I mean, we played them in groups. They took us. I think they took us to 5. I think, but again, we played that Florida series right after the Auburn series, so that was probably at our lowest. So I think that could be a potentially good match for us. I mean, out of all the teams that are in the lower like LCQ, I really don't think that there's any good or bad picks. I think they're all just picks, and whichever team we get, we're gonna be happy with, and we're gonna roll with it, and we're gonna hit the game plan, and we're gonna hit the ground running.
All right, love it. It's a good mindset. You guys have good mindsets about who you're gonna take, like the research and the play over we play. I love it. And I mean, Snipes, I'm gonna transition a little bit because I want to talk about team season so far. We've brushed on it a little bit with UTK and King, but your boys at Clemson, they got knocked out. How closely, first of all, do you still follow Clemson Rocket League, and also what happened with them?
I still follow pretty closely, which is to say that some of them asked me for coaching. Chosen specifically, gosh, I could talk for 20 minutes about that guy, but we won't. It's a PG stream. I followed pretty closely. I think our big setback, which wasn't an insult to either Canova or Chosen that got pulled up, was Darth Pepe and Wheezy, who have both played on the A team and been pretty successful. Both decided not to play this semester. Wheezy because tons of work, tons of hours, graduating, thinking about a master's program, super busy. And then Darth Pepe because he just became, he took like 20 credit hours, got super busy, and he just didn't have the time for it. And so it's just a new team. It's 2 freshmen, 1 sophomores. They ended up stumbling against a lower team, but everybody, on the panel has had that happen before. You guys are doing it from a higher place, so when you stumble, you're still well above that threshold of being competitive, but losing so much, like so many players in the last year or so, we're closer to that line, and we got punished.
Okay, that's, man, it's such a good mindset. I was hoping for some spicy comments, but
it's Chosen's fault. You can use it.
All right, there we go. Thank you. All right,
There you
Chosen's
go, yeah.
fault. Clemson has been eliminated, ending that playoff streak of theirs. But Jobro, you guys stumbled at the last kind of hurdle of groups, which it's whatever. It's a game 5 loss. It's the way the format goes. But how have you guys approached the season after picking up Crisp, who you added him to the roster, and I was fearful for everybody in the SEL.
I mean, it made our lives a lot easier. I'll just put it at that. I mean, obviously when you randomly stumble upon somebody like that goes to your school and you're like, oh, want to play? And he says yes, then, life is great it has been really. Obviously we're not unbeatable like we kind of thought we were at the beginning. So I mean, it eventually made us realize, oh, we're actually gonna have to like scram in practice, and it's not just gonna be super easy. Which that wasn't fun because I was enjoying not having to play the game as much. That's always fun. But now that I think we've kind of realized that we have to put in some work, it's been fun, really, just getting to know Cody better, or Crisp. And now I think we're all close friends, and I think that's been kind of a staple of UTK Rocket League in general. Just the friendship that we have here, and getting to add another guy to the group is always fun. So,
Boo.
been a blast.
Such a sweet answer. I love it. And I mean, Wade, outside of the Auburn loss, outside of the bad day you guys had, I mean, your season has gone really well, beating Kentucky, who was undefeated on the last day of groups. And I mean, the Elite Eight, you guys haven't played the majority of your series yet, but are you feeling good going into playoffs, no matter how the Elite Eight shakes out?
Yeah, feeling really good. I mean, when you have players of the caliber that we have, and even with arguably our best player not being able to play this semester, still being able to fill that role and support the team in any way I can, and yeah, we're gonna be successful no matter what. Yeah, our season's been good, besides that one loss, and I think we're just gonna hold it down, rock with it. Let's go.
Love it. I mean, okay, and I have to ask you as well, since you've gotten firsthand experience, is Bruton Parker like actually that legit that they're 10-0 right now in the SEL? Are they going to go all the way? I mean, you don't have to say they're going to win it all, because obviously King's going to win it all and UTK is going to win it all, but like, is Bruton Parker a serious threat?
I mean, of course they're going to be a serious threat. I mean, Antics, Sino, Milk, all three of those guys are really good at the game. I obviously have been like in the lower part of the bubble, but still in the bubble. And I mean, yeah, we knew that going in. We knew that, and I mean, the match was pretty good. I mean, the games were all close, and I think that's kind of the story. Even with Florida State, with their series against Bruton Parker, and then with Buds, all the games were super close, and I think a lot of them could go either way. So I think they're good, but they're definitely not unbeatable. I think any one of the top 5 teams can exchange series with them, and I think especially us, we're going to give them a run for their money in the playoffs. And I think UTK will as well. It's just a matter of it's any given day, honestly, any given day.
Okay, that's good, because I was getting worried that Bruton Parker was just going to stomp everybody after going 10-0 so far. And I mean, Jobro, you guys, as the locked 5 seed going into playoffs, are going to have to play Bruton Parker, assuming everything like goes according to seeding and plan and all of that. In the upper semifinals, have you guys looked into them at all, researching, kind of preparing for that, or are you worried at all about Bruton Parker?
I mean, I think we definitely respect them, and we think they're a really good team, but I mean, I'm gonna watch back like the VOD and watch them play or whatever, but we're not like over stressing it, because I think we've realized that that's like the worst thing we can do, is like when we're researching somebody or like we're taking it too seriously, it seems to make us play worse. So we're kind of have been just taking more time to relax and not worry too much about who we're playing, just focusing on ourselves. And I think if we're playing our system and the way we've been playing recently, especially, I think it'll be a good game, but I definitely think it's not unwinnable. I don't think that the narrative that they're unbeatable is true at all.
All right, good to know. I'm glad to get player perspective on this, because I haven't gotten to watch them play a series that haven't been on stream yet in the SEL so far. So we need to get them on stream eventually. But Snipes, what are you looking at for the rest of the last chance qualifier? We talked about playoffs. Your predictions have been fairly solid so far. What are you keeping an eye on in the LCQ and the Elite Eight groups?
Yeah, thank you, Bepic. I am pretty talented despite predicting Clemson to win both. I do really quickly want to say, you guys are talking about Bruton Parker being beatable. They did go 3-0 in their group. They only had a 5-goal diff. Despite being 3-0. So like you guys said, the games were really close, and like, they don't even have enough goals to have won all those games by 1 goal on average. So they are beatable. In the LCQ, I want to know if USC is gonna like look good because I think everybody still considers them, like, even though they're in the LCQ, everybody still considers them a, like, contender, like a top 8 team. But like at the Myrtle LAN recently, they went 1-5 and just bottomed out of the tournament. I think they won like 2 series. They went 2-6 overall. Previously, they finished like 3rd or 4th at that event. I think it was 3rd. So maybe they're sliding a little bit. They did lose their group. Granted, they probably had the hardest group to make top 3 in, or top 2 in. But it was still... I don't know. They're sliding, and I want to see if they're still good. Because if UAH Blue takes that spot, they're another crazy team that I'm sure Jobro doesn't want to play. And then in the bottom, man, I don't even know. I need those 3 other games in the first round to get played because I can't even begin to predict matchups in there. It's too chaotic. The skill, everybody's skill is close enough to where I have no idea what's gonna happen.
How about you, Wade? I know you're always in Twitch chat. Like, I see you all the time in Twitch chat, at least in my streams, and then the SEL main stream on occasion as well, when I'm able to pop in live. Like, how much SEL do you actually watch outside of your own matches and all that?
You know, I try to watch whenever I get the chance. You know, I like supporting my friends like DJ TJ. I love TJ. I'm a regular in his streams, and I'll watch anytime he's commentating and casting. And you know, I love watching you stream Bepic. So I mean, I'm always there when you're casting. And I say I watch a good bit. Probably not as much as I should, but yeah, I watch a good bit.
Okay, so then coming out of the last chance qualifier then, or even in playoffs, like outside of Bruton Parker or whatever, like who are the teams that are threatening, that you think could make a run potentially for one of those land spots that are up in the air? I want some predictions here, kinda.
For the land spots that are up in the air, I definitely think UH Blue makes a case. I think they can make a run. They've shown so much improvement over these past couple weeks. I think they can lock up one of those land spots. I mean, South Carolina is super deadly. It's really just on the day for them. I mean, Og is such a top tier player that it's really whenever he's feeling it, they're going to be good. FAU, same way. Hammy Crackers, if he gets hot, he's going to stay hot. I mean, yeah, there's so many threatening teams that are on like that lower part of the land qualifying spots. I'm thankful enough to kind of be at the top of the point standing and not really having to worry that much about results. I don't know, it's not guaranteed, but it's pretty close. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's so many good teams that are at like the last couple land spots that you really just can't like pick one.
That's fair. Jobro, do you watch enough SEL to like give a good idea or give a good prediction as to who you think might make it?
I mean, I think obviously like the teams that were already at the top are gonna make it. I think Bruton Parker will end up making the land, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Georgia State make a run. Obviously, I mean, I respect Georgia State. I think now we've figured them out, and to be honest with you, if Georgia State learns to like play as a team and not like 3 individuals, I think they could beat like anyone in this entire league because they have the individual talent to do that. But I also think that a team like UNCC or like an Alabama, teams like that, if they get really hot, they could just make a run and blaze through some of like the teams that you just would not expect them to beat. I think it's all just about who gets hot at the right time, to be honest with you. I think UH Blue also is another team, like Wade said, that could easily do it. So I mean, I really do think it's just if they whichever team decides to show up on the day, which is always what happens in SEL. Like there's just going to be that one team that you do not think is going to be there, that's going to be there, and they're going to be winning. There's going to be one of those teams this semester. I can tell you that now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody random.
All right, Snipes, give me the big brain prediction to close us out. The end of the panel. Who's the crazy team that's gonna make a run and be hot and make it to LAN?
Okay, here I'm gonna give you some analysis on the guys you said. UAH Blue, I don't think they make it. I'm gonna be honest. They've got a great coach. I've heard a lot of great things about that guy. But the problem with UAH Blue is they got top 6 in the first split. And if you're one of those teams that either didn't do good in the first split or you're brand new like Bruton Parker, you are licking your lips looking at UAH Blue in the LCQ. And I said this before, there's a strategy of sniping people ahead of you in the points. If you're one of these top seeds and you need to make up ground, UAH Blue's the cash cow. Because they've got top 6 points. They could easily steal a land spot with 1 or 2 series wins. I think somebody's going to try and take them off the board early. I think USC is the most likely team to make a run, because I think they got 13th, 16th, or 9th, 12th. I think they're going to steal a spot, purely because if they win in their upper game, I think they're the last team taken off the board. Because I think people would rather play Arkansas, Georgia, USC Garnet, or Alabama much more than USC, just because they're so much deadlier on a given day. And then Florida, I think, also could make a run. Florida is just outside that bubble of top teams. They get a couple upsets, they could steal a land spot. I don't give much hope to Alabama or UNCC because they didn't make playoffs the first semester. I don't think they get enough points. They would need to get like top 4 points to make land, and I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think Bruton Parker honestly is the only team that could make a run that didn't make playoffs in the fall. Because you got to get like top 3 pretty much to make land. If you didn't make playoffs or have no points going forward. So that's the last little bit of discussion though, because I do have to wrap us up since Monday Night Lights is starting in about 5 minutes. But boys, thank you so much for joining me. That was pretty fun. I love the insight, and as much as I love talking, I love hearing you guys chat as well. So thank you for joining me, guys. I love it, Joe. All right.
Thanks for having us.
So that's going to bring us to the end of the State of the SEL Live. I should be back next week with another live show. But Monday Night Lights is starting in just a little bit. I'm going to flash the schedule up there just a second. We got Arkansas and Alabama. I know Jobro will be watching that one. He's already mentioned it. But that one's a big one. Ignore the names over the schedule. You can still kind of see it. But there you go. Alabama versus Arkansas, UNCC versus Cumberland, and then Georgia and South Carolina Garnet fighting for a playoff spot a little later on in the evening. So we'll be right back with Monday Night Lights in a little bit. Stay tuned for more SEL action.